There are 30 MCU movies. Some of them are genuine masterpieces. Some of them are the most expensive mistakes ever put on screen. And one of them, the one I'm putting at number 1, is going to make a portion of you furious. I've watched all 30. I've ranked all 30. And I've graded every single one on a single question. Does this movie work as a movie, independent of the franchise it belongs to? No nostalgia. No bonus points for setting up a later film. No penalty for connecting to something you haven't seen. Just, is this a good film? If you disagree with any of this, and you will, drop it in the comments. I want the argument. See you at number 1. Here's the problem with ranking the MCU. These films exist on a spectrum that almost no other franchise in history has tried. At one end, you have intimate character studies, films about grief, identity, legacy. At the other, you have cosmic spectacle on a scale that would have been impossible to film 20 years ago. And the franchise spans 17 years. The films made in 2008 are operating in a completely different cinematic context too. The films made in 2023. Comparing Iron Man to Quantum Oni is like comparing the first iPhone to an iPhone 15. So I set one rule. Every film gets judged on its own terms. What was it trying to do? Did it do it? That single question changes everything. And it's why my number 1 might not be what you expect. Tier F. Skip on a rewatch. 30. Eternal S. 2021. The MCU's most expensive misfire. CHLO Zhao brought genuine artistry and got a story that moves at glacial pace with characters who barely feel connected. 10 new heroes introduced with the urgency of a Wikipedia page. The Celestial S plotline has real ambition. The execution doesn't burn it. Score: 3.5 out of 10. 29. Thor: The Dark World. 2013. This movie exists. That's about the most you can say for it. Malekith is the most forgettable villain in MCU history. A character so underwritten that even Christopher Eccleston seemed bored playing him. The only saving grace is Loki, who carries every scene he's in. Tom Hiddleston deserved better. Score: 4 out of 10. 28. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. 2023. The film that was supposed to launch the Kang Dynasty and instead killed it. Modoke is a disaster. The quantum realm looks like a video game cutscene. Kang himself is genuinely menacing in moments, but the story surrounding him is a mess. The mid-credits scene promised everything the film failed to deliver. Score: 4.5 out of 10. Tier D. Fine but forgettable. 27. Thor. 2011. Fine for its time. Chris Hemsworth is immediately charismatic. But rewatching in 2025, the Earth sequences are painfully low stakes and the romance with Jane feels rushed. The Asgard scenes still hold up visually. This is the MCU finding its footing. And you can tell. Score: 5.5 out of 10. 26. The Incredible Hulk. 2008. Technically the second MCU film and almost entirely forgotten. Edward Norton is genuinely good as Banner. The Abomination fight is messier than it should be. The tonal inconsistency was a preview of the MCU's ongoing struggle with how to make Hulk work. What's here is fine. That's the problem. Score: 5.5 out of 10. 25. Iron Man 2. 2010. The MCU's first hangover. After the brilliant original, this is scattered and overstuffed, setting up Avengers at the expense of telling a coherent story. Mickey Rourke is wasted. Sam Rockwell steals every scene. The briefcase armor sequence is one of the franchise's best moments, surrounded by one of its messiest films. Score: 5.5 out of 10. 24. Black Widow. 2021. Comes 5 years too late to matter for Natasha's arc and 1 film too early for Yelena's to pay off. Florence Pugh is the obvious breakout. The Red Room concept is genuinely compelling. But the villain is another wasted opportunity, and the family dynamics, while fun, don't land with the emotional weight they should. Score: 6 out of 10. Piercy: solid but not essential. 23. Doctor Strange. 2016. A visually inventive origin story that does everything required and little more. Benedict Cumberbatch is perfectly cast. The Inception on steroids visual language still impresses. But the third act evolves into standard MCU climax formula, and Dormammu is another disposable villain behind a CGI wall. Score: 6.5 out of 10. 22. Ant-Man. 2015. A surprisingly charming heist film that shows what the MCU can do when it commits to a specific genre. Paul Rudd is perfect. The size-changing action is inventively staged. The Darren Cross villain problem resurfaces here. But the Ant-Man vs. Falcon cameo is one of the franchise's funniest sequences. Score: 7 out of 10. We're halfway through. Which F-tier film genuinely surprised you on a rewatch? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear the hot takes before we hit the good stuff. 21. Thor: Love and Thunder. 2022. Taika Waititi leaned too far into the comedy and lost the emotional core. Christian Bale's Gore the God Butcher is actually terrifying in his limited screen time, which makes it more frustrating that the film underuses him. The Zeus scene is divisive for good reason. But Natalie Portman's mighty Thor deserved a better movie. Score: 6.5 out of 10. 20. Captain America: The First Avenger. 2011. A confident, earnest period piece that establishes Steve Rogers as one of the MCU's most morally coherent characters. The WWII setting gives the film a texture most MCU entries lack. The ending, Steve going under, still hits hard. Hugo Weaving's Red Skull is underrated as a villain. Score: 7 out of 10. 19. Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 3. 2023. James Gunn's farewell is emotionally richer than expected. Rocket's origin story is genuinely devastating. Probably the MCU's most affecting character work since the first Infinity War. The High Evolutionary is a legitimately great villain. But the film is overstuffed, and the tonal whiplash between comedy and trauma is sometimes jarring. Score: 7.5 out of 10. Tier B. Genuinely good. 14. Thor: Ragnarok. 2017. Taika Waititi's arrival transformed Thor from the MCU's most inconsistent franchise into its most fun. The Planet Hulk riff. Hela as the franchisee's best female villain. Jeff Goldblum doing Jeff Goldblum. Ragnarok is pure propulsive joy. The immigrant song sequences are some of the franchisee's most purely cinematic moments. Score: 8 out of 10. 13. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 2021. A breath of fresh air with martial arts choreography, unlike anything else in the MCU. Simu Liu is magnetic. The bus fight sequence in the first act is extraordinary. Tony Leung elevates Xu Wenwu into the franchisee's most emotionally complicated antagonist. The third act CGI dragon battle is the film's only real stumble. Score: 7.5 out of 10. 12. Spider-Man: Homecoming. 2017. The MCU's best coming-of-age film. Tom Holland's Peter Parker is genuinely teenage in a way previous Spider-Men weren't. Anxious, eager, out of his depth. Michael Keaton's Vulture has a genuine blue-collar menace. The Lizzie's dad reveal is one of the MCU's best dramatic turns. This is superhero filmmaking with real character stakes. Score: 8 out of 10. Tier A great MCU films. 11. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. 2022. Sam Raimi making a Sam Raimi film inside the MCU is either genius or a category error, depending on your tolerance for horror aesthetics in a PG-13 franchise. The Illuminati sequence is extraordinary fan service. Wanda as full villain is divisive, but committed. This is the MCU at its most genuinely scary. Score: 7/5/10. 10. Guardians of the Galaxy. 2014. Nobody believed this would work. An obscure cosmic comic book featuring a talking raccoon and a sentient tree, James Gunn made it into the MCU's most purely joyful film. A character-driven ensemble with actual emotional stakes buried under layers of irreverence. The mixed ape conceit was inspired. Volume 1 still holds a special place. Score: 8.5 out of 10. Top 10 now. Subscribe before we hit the top 5. Because if you disagree with my one, you're going to want to leave a comment immediately, and I want you to find that button easily. 9. Captain America: Civil War. 2016. The Russo brothers staged the MCU's most emotionally complex conflict. A genuine ideological argument between the characters we've loved for years, neither of whom is wrong. The airport sequence remains the franchise's most spectacular action set piece. The CEMO twist reframes everything. And the final fight between Steve, Tony, and Bucky is genuinely painful. Score: 8.5 out of 10. 8. Tier B. Genuinely good. 14. Thor: Ragnarok. 2017. Taika Waititi's arrival transformed Thor from the MCU's most inconsistent franchise into its most fun. The Planet Hulk riff. Hela as the franchise's best female villain. Jeff Goldblum doing Jeff Goldblum. Ragnarok is pure propulsive joy. The immigrant song sequences are some of the franchise's most purely cinematic moments. Score: 8 out of 10. 13. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. 2021. A breath of fresh air with martial arts choreography, unlike anything else in the MCU. Simu Liu is magnetic. The bus fight sequence in the first act is extraordinary. Tony Leung elevates Xu Wenwu into the franchise's most emotionally complicated antagonist. The third act CGI dragon battle is the film's only real stumble. Score: 7.5 out of 10. 12. Spider-Man: Homecoming. 2017. The MCU's best coming-of-age film. Tom Holland's Peter Parker is genuinely teenage in a way previous Spider-Men weren't. Anxious, eager, out of his depth. Michael Keaton's Vulture has a genuine blue-collar menace. The Lizzie's dad reveal is one of the MCU's best dramatic turns. This is superhero filmmaking with real character stakes. Score: 8 out of 10. Tier S. The best. 5. Avengers: Age of Ultron. 2015. The underrated one. Joss Whedon was clearly exhausted and studio pressure. And the film seemed show. But it contains some of the Avengers' best character work. The Scarlet Witch nightmare sequences are genuinely unsettling. James Spader's Ultron is philosophically interesting in ways the franchise rarely attempts. The Hawkeye farm sequence is the MCU at its most quietly human. Score: 7.5 out of 10. 4. Captain America: The Winter Soldier. 2014. The MCU's best pure thriller. The Russo brothers brought a 70s political paranoia aesthetic to a superhero film and it works completely. The elevator fight is one of cinema's great action sequences. The Hydra within S.H.I.E.L.D. reveal reshapes the entire franchise's mythology. Steve Rogers' moral clarity under pressure is the beating heart of everything. Score: 9 out of 10. 3. Avengers: Endgame. 2019. The most ambitious closing chapter in franchise history. 3 hours that burn every minute through a decade of storytelling investment. The time heist structure is inventive. The final battle is genuinely staggering in scale and execution. Tony's snap is the MCU's defining sacrifice moment. And Steve's ending, choosing a life, is a quiet perfect note to close on. Score, 9.5 out of 10. Tier S, the best. 2. Avengers, Infinity War, 2018. The film that made the impossible look routine. 19 heroes in one coherent narrative, each with something to lose. Thanos works because the Russo-esque gave him an internal logic and genuine cause. Every encounter feels weighted. And the ending, the snap, the dust, the silence, is one of cinema's great sucker punches. We all sat in silence when the credits rolled. Score, 9.5 out of 10. 1. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, 2022. Wait, hear me out. Wakanda Forever shouldn't work. It was made in grief, with a gaping absence at its center. What Ryan Coogler and Angela Bassett created instead is the MCU's most emotionally authentic film. The tribute to Chadwick Boseman is handled with extraordinary grace. And Amber is the franchise's most genuinely mythological antagonist. And the final scene of Shuri on the beach is quietly one of the most moving moments the MCU has produced. Score, 9 out of 10. 30 films, 17 years. One universe that went from a single man in a suit to literally the fate of all reality. And here's my honest take after watching all of it back to back. The MCU's highs are genuinely extraordinary. Infinity War, Endgame, Black Panther, Winter Soldier. These are films that will be watched decades from now. But the lows are real. And they're dragging the franchise's legacy in a way that's hard to ignore. When Eternals and Quantum Oni exist in the same universe as the Winter Soldier, something has gone wrong in the quality control. The question for the franchise going forward isn't whether it can still make great films. It's proven it can. The question is whether it's willing to make fewer, better ones. Now, your turn. What's your number one? What film do you think I got criminally wrong? I genuinely want to know. Because the best part of making a ranking video is reading the people who think you're completely wrong. I'm reading every comment. Drop your top 5. Let's argue about this properly. Subscribe if you want more of this. We do ranked breakdowns every week. And the next one is even more controversial than this. See you then.